Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Yeah, by Hot 97.
They called her messy, bitter, toxic. But today, Wendy Williams stepped into a courtroom and, under oath, laid out the story she's been trying to tell for over 2 decades. It wasn't gossip this time. It wasn't speculation or rumor. It was testimony, structured, deliberate, and backed with documentation. And the people she named weren't just industry peers. They were titans: Diddy, Jay-Z, Oprah, Tyler Perry. What she exposed wasn't a scandal. It was a system. Wendy didn't need to raise her voice. She didn't dress for drama. She walked in like someone who had nothing left to lose and everything to prove. The courtroom didn't treat her like a celebrity. It felt like the arrival of someone who had been silenced, mocked, and buried, and who had clawed her way out for one last shot at being heard. When she sat down, she didn't waste a moment. "I was never bitter," she said. "I was never lying. I was early." Her warnings weren't vague. They were laser-focused. Wendy opened a folder of evidence: emails, hotel memos, internal PR threads. One hotel email detailed the preparation of a presidential suite for a guest of Mr. Combs, including candlelight setups and discretion measures. Another document simply read, "Managing optics, Wendy, Puff, Tyler." They didn't want the truth managed, she said. They wanted it erased. Her accusations didn't stop at Diddy. "You can't talk about him without talking about the people who stood beside him," she told the court, and that included Jay-Z. With a steady voice, she revisited the long-rumored relationship between Jay and then 15-year-old Foxy Brown. She quoted lyrics from her debut album that were sexually explicit, lyrics Jay-Z allegedly wrote. Why was a grown man writing these words for a child? She asked. She spoke of gifts, shopping trips, school pickups, and even a missing tape said to involve Jay-Z, Foxy, and actor Jamie Foxx, one that vanished after Foxy's home was burglarized. But Wendy didn't just focus on what happened. She focused on what it cost her to say it. She recalled how her show was dropped, sponsors fled, and PR firms blacklisted her after she first aired these concerns. "I didn't lose all that because I was wrong. I lost it because I was right," she said to the jury. She also detailed a disturbing pattern she'd seen for years, one that revolved around Diddy's now infamous parties, which she refused to call parties at all. She called them operations. Phones were taken at the door, NDAs were signed, there were medical assistants, candles, escorts. It wasn't a party, it was ritual. She said guests were assigned rooms, told what to wear, and sometimes left shaken or needing IV bags the next day. This wasn't nightlife. It was, in her words, organized depravity. Wendy brought up Karen Superhead Steffens, who once went on her show and described a Diddy party in vivid detail. Steffens talked about paranoia, drugs, and pressure to participate in sexual setups. Wendy testified that she replayed that interview multiple times, making sure it wasn't forgotten. "They were going to erase her voice," she said. "I wouldn't let them." Then came a name that Wendy said she always knew would be part of this: Cassie Ventura. She was 19. He was pushing 40, Wendy said. That wasn't love. That was leverage. She told the court she had long suspected Diddy was controlling every aspect of Cassie's life, from her phone to her travel to who she could talk to. Wendy pointed to moments in her own show's interviews, how Cassie looked down, how she flinched when Diddy raised his voice. "People called it nerves," Wendy said. "I called it trauma." Years later, when Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, the allegations mirrored things Wendy had said on air in the early 2000s. Prosecutors laid out a timeline comparing Wendy's old broadcasts with Cassie's legal claims. What they called gossip, Wendy said, was evidence all along. She then turned her attention to the people who weren't in the room, but held just as much power over the silence: Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. Wendy said she once confided in Oprah about a personal trauma, only to see her abuser invited to Oprah's show shortly after. That wasn't just betrayal, Wendy said. That was retaliation. With Tyler Perry, Wendy claimed he had her quietly blackballed after she criticized his team. The calls stop, the invites disappear, you're not warned, you're wiped. Wendy talked about an invisible list in Hollywood, a list of names you're not allowed to criticize. Nobody will ever show you this list, but everyone in this business knows it exists, she said. Break the rule and you lose your name. She told the court she'd seen careers erased not for lying, but for telling the truth about the wrong person. She revealed she was offered a TV deal, one with national reach and full syndication. If she agreed to stop talking about these issues, she refused. And just like that, the deal disappeared. They didn't want to pay me to speak, she said. They wanted to pay me to shut up. Wendy said the media was complicit too. She described how radio segments would mysteriously disappear, how guest interviews were pulled from archives, how even FCC complaints would appear out of nowhere. They didn't just threaten me on the streets, she said. They threatened me through the system. As her testimony neared its end, Wendy locked eyes with the jury. This isn't just about one man. This is about the tower behind him, built on fear, on NDAS, on billion-dollar handshakes, and every time someone tried to speak, that tower crushed them. She gestured toward Diddy. You see him on trial, but behind him, that's the machine. She paused, then added, and I'm not scared of the machine anymore. Wendy stood up, her testimony complete. No tears, no collapse, just quiet power. She looked back once at the gallery, at the press, at the system that tried to silence her, and she said the words that would echo long after she left the courtroom. I'd rather be right in hell than silent in heaven.